We're going to take you live to Edinburgh in Scotland now, where some events are underway relating, of course, to the death of Queen Elizabeth II and preparations for her funeral in London, which will be held a week from today. At the moment, a procession is getting underway in Edinburgh that will see the Queen's coffin moved from Holyrood Castle in the centre of the city to the nearby St Giles Cathedral. King Charles III and Camilla, the Queen Consort, have travelled to Edinburgh for this ceremony after just a few hours ago being in London, where King Charles, for the first time as monarch, addressed assembled lawmakers in Westminster Hall. Now they are in the Scottish capital for this ceremony that will see the Queen's casket moved from Holyrood House, where it has spent much of the weekend, to St Giles's Cathedral, just off the Royal Mile in the centre of Edinburgh. The ceremony that is underway will see the procession following it that will take the coffin from Holyrood to St Giles, flanked by a military bearer party with King Charles and the Queen's other children, the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward in attendance and following the coffin as it makes its way towards St Giles Cathedral. It's roughly a 10-minute journey to the cathedral, and the Queen's coffin will lie in rest in the cathedral for just over 24 hours, at which point it will then begin its journey to London, where the Queen will lie in state for several days before her funeral next Monday. People across Scotland will have the opportunity now to travel to Edinburgh themselves and pay their respects before the Queen's casket as she lies in rest in St Giles Cathedral. The cathedral will be open for 24 hours as a vigil is mounted by the Royal Company of Archers, who will be on hand at St Giles's for that opportunity for the people of Scotland to pay their last respects to Her Majesty the Queen. There were some extraordinary scenes over the weekend as the Queen's casket made its way from Balmoral, where of course she died last Thursday night, to Edinburgh, making its way through the Scottish countryside, roads lined with passers-by and onlookers who wanted to pay their respects to the Queen, in some cases throwing flowers in front of the cortege that was carrying her towards Edinburgh. And then, of course, that casket made its first journey through the streets of Edinburgh, down the Royal Mile to Holyrood Palace, where the Queen, of course, had spent considerable amounts of time during her reign. She was much beloved with Scotland and much beloved in Scotland, and so we're seeing once again some extraordinary scenes there playing out live from the streets of Edinburgh, the Scottish capital, as the Queen makes one of her final journeys, certainly her final journey in Scotland, before the casket is conveyed to London, where mourners will be able to start filing past the Queen's coffin on Wednesday. Some people at Westminster Hall, where she's to lie in state, have already started queuing up, and the level of interest in the opportunity to pay respects to the Queen as she lies in state is expected to be substantial, to the point where it may not be possible for everyone who wants to file past her to get the opportunity to do that. All of this part of a 10-day plan that is now being put into operation across the United Kingdom. 10 days of national mourning underway. This is day 3 of national mourning. A transition, of course, this, an opportunity not only to remember the reign and achievements of Queen Elizabeth II, but also to prepare for the monarchy now headed by King Charles III, and the pace at which there has been a transition, of course, from Queen Elizabeth II to King Charles III. At times has been somewhat reeling, but at other moments there are these quieter, more ceremonial opportunities to observe and participate in the events and the ceremonial that is underway in Britain, and of course it will lead up to the Queen's state funeral next Monday, and then ultimately several months later to King Charles's official coronation.